There's a universe in every moment. Every moment there's a universe. There's a universe in every moment. The incandescent nectar moves through you, pouring from the wombs of light. The triumphant soul melts into peace, pure peace, pure peace, soaring through the seamless tides of love. Rise to the quickening within, the force that ignites your heart.
Do a follow-up question here. So if we say, if we put the assumption that God, actually, let me go back. You and I had an exchange where I was asking you about expansion and contraction in the universe, and some physicists are saying we're in the period of massive expansion, and the universe is expanding faster than imaginable, but we'll also go through a period of contraction, just kind of like our breath. And you said that God is the breath of the universe, not the universe itself. And it is the nature of the universe to expand and contract, not God. This was really poignant for me, what you said. So my question is, if God, let's say we assume God is the formless, God is, let's say, the quantum vacuum, and from nothing comes everything. So comes you, come me, come the earth, all the creatures, everything. Why... No, let me go back. So if God is love, and in love there's no duality, then why we, as the creatures of, let's say, of God, why do we possess ego, anger, all those things? If God is none of those things, why are we created with those propensities?
Because we are the result of the universe, with the seed of God that lives within us. So we are participants in creation. Okay?
We're participants in creation.
We are participants in creation. We've got a mind, we've got consciousness, we've got an energetic system, and being participants in creation, there's a lot that goes on, and duality exists. When we talk about anger, anger is merely energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is energy that is filtered through mind.
Filtered through the mind, and not the true self.
And not the true self. And so when you start becoming aware, go ahead.
Excuse me. Goodness.
God bless you.
Thank you.
When you start becoming aware of this, you will actually need to unwind the energetic imprints.
Mm-hmm.
There are imprints in our DNA, there's imprints over millenniums of time, there's all kinds of stuff. And I feel that in this process, we are releasing all that keeps us from experiencing, all that maintains the veils of illusion, the veils of vibratory exchange that is not of love.
What is it of then?
Energy.
All the crap.
Yes, it's choice. It's really, really choice. And it's unfortunate that we see these things going on in the world. We see all of the suffering in other parts of the world. We see suffering within ourselves, within our families. There's always that dynamic going on
And why is that dynamic going on?
because of the dualistic nature of the universe. And it starts on an individual basis. It's all energy. We can counteract energy, existing energy, with the energy of light, with the energy of coming into our true light being, God's self, and live it, and it starts radiating from you. It vibrates so strong, even with all of the oppositional forces that may want to, that may live within you or even around you. When you start observing, you'll start seeing, you'll start becoming accountable for these oppositional forces and making some correction.
Within?
Oh yes. And it filters all through the mind.
So basically having the awareness to notice your own reactions and what's going on around you, and then connecting within to give whatever the response is at whatever time.
Exactly. And there's really a lot to that. There is so much. I see in society today that a lot of things are predicated on fear or something wrong. And how much information is out there revealing how true and loving and right we are. I saw this in the death experience, one of my death experiences. I was in that light. I was one with 1,000 suns. I was one with the intensity of 1,000 suns, I should say. And I saw my physical body as perfect, but I was that beingness, that being, the spirit or soul or whatever you want to call it, was in the light. In the light. So there was a lot in the healing process and remembering that experience in both death experiences, the pain and recovery of the accident and the surgery was amazing, in that there was so much awareness of neurons and the nervous system, and
You felt it.
I felt it, but I use sound as a medium to be able to access that.
Say more about that, please. What do you mean?
Well, I'm doing specific tones and sounds where I would do one tone and I would feel the synapses in my brain connecting. I would feel the neurons moving.
You felt the awareness of...
I was aware of the energetic universe that was within me, moving through the nervous system.
So while you were recovering, you were singing.
Exactly.
And how did you know that's what you should do?
That information.
It was just innate.
Just remembering, just that remembrance of being in the light. Just that experience made a huge indelible impression on every part of my being. And I healed very quickly. Within 3 months, I had no seizures.
Wow.
My legs were recovering. I recovered very quickly from the surgery.
So the sound was basically you were healing yourself with your own inner strength.
I was healing myself with the strength of that love that I experienced. I was healing that is what was permeating through all my cells, through all of my energetic systems.
So
Go ahead.
So when you were recovering, you're laying in bed, you kept going back to that feeling.
Oh, it was there. It's like after you have these experiences, or at least after I had the experience of the accident and the experience of dying in surgery, it was you don't forget it.
Poignant, right there.
Exactly. You just don't forget it. It's just there. It's a very big part of you. And when you see that and have that experience, there's life has evolved into running back into that light. So all of these years since these things had happened has been the process of remembering.
So you've been yearning to feel that way again.
Oh, definitely.
And it's there.
And it's just there. And it's just there. And for me, sound is the means by which that particular remembrance gets activated.
You want to go back to that good space.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I have to say, there are a lot of things that happened over the course of so many years. Everything from emotional to psychological, even dealing with depression and potential brain damage and seizures. And a lot of personality issues had to be dealt with. And really, the longing to go back into that light was so intense. I really didn't want to be here. And yet I knew that the greater love that brought me back, and believe me, if it was a choice, I wouldn't have come back. But
Who would?
But that love, that's all I can, that's the only way I can define it, has me here. Whether I'm an individual or whether I'm teaching or singing, I don't have ideas about changing the world. I don't have ideas about helping people, because I believe the greatest help you could ever give them is bring them back into their light. So in doing performances and things of that nature, I feel that communion that I had in those death experiences. I feel the sensations. I feel like my body turns into particles. And that's it. So the journey really is about in the beingness of self. And some of the poets talk about having that thirst for love, having that thirst for the beloved. And I've written poetry about that because I know it.
You feel it?
I know it. I know that thirst.
I have a question for you, Vima.